Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Tomshack, CEO of HealthSource, America's Chiropractor. If you are looking for an associate position right now, and many people are, do you ever stress over what's a really good position to accept and what's a total dead end? Well, if so, you are absolutely 100% in the majority. In this video, I'll discuss how to choose the right associate position for you, one that doesn't just waste the next 2 years of your life. Instead, there really are fantastic opportunities out there in our profession. You just need to know how to differentiate between the really bad jobs, the mediocre ones, and the positions that can really add tremendous value to you personally and professionally. They exist. After all, this is about your career we're talking about. Again, I'm Dr. Chris Tomshack, CEO of HealthSource, America's Chiropractor, and you're watching Chiropractors Education channel. It's a video series that helps you grow your chiropractic practice and, of course, your career. So, hello and welcome. Now, before we dive into this material, make sure you're subscribed to this channel so that you can continue receiving these videos. And, of course, please be sure to give us a thumbs up to make it a bit easier for other chiropractors to find this content as well. So, whether you're about to graduate from college and are looking for your first great associate position, or you're looking to advance your career in a new and different associate position, this is a monumentally important decision. This isn't a decision to be made lightly, not whatsoever. I mean, after all, this is not a dress rehearsal. It is your career, and it is moving forward, whether you want it to or not. Every decision that you make has consequences because there's what's called an opportunity cost with each decision, which is what we learned about in business school. That means that when you make a decision, you automatically exclude the other options that were available to you prior to making the decision. So, for instance, if you choose a full-time associate position at Office A, you no longer have the option to work full-time at Office B. And the office you choose to work, and especially the doctor you choose to work for, well, that has huge ramifications to you and your career. Again, it's not a dress rehearsal, guys. This is your career. If you take a position for 2 years, which is very typical for an associate position, that's like 7% of your total working career tied up in that job. That's a big deal. That's why it's so darn important that you make the very best decision possible that you can just absolutely make. And want to know what the least important factor is for your associate position? Huh? You guessed it. It's the pay you'll earn, and that's because the opportunity cost is so great to you professionally and personally. That doesn't, however, mean you have to work for peanuts. So, for instance, if you choose an associate position that pays $80,000 a year, that forces you to adjust as many spines in a day that you're physically capable of doing, and you're working for a DC or a non-DC that's really mostly interested in the volume of spines you can adjust with no regard for providing the very best outcomes possible to the patients that you serve, well, you've pretty much relegated yourself to technician status with near zero professional growth opportunities. Is that how you want to spend the next 2 years or the next 7% of your career? Probably not. Because, maybe it's 24 months later, you haven't even started paying down your student loan debt, you've learned nothing about delivering best-in-class outcomes for your patients, or how to run a practice profitably and efficiently. And now it's time to try to find a position in which the owner isn't trying to extract as many adjustments out of you as humanly possible. In other words, you've wasted 2 years or 7% of your career. This, again, isn't a dress rehearsal. I love that. It's your life, and it's your very valuable and important career. This is your life's work. And there are far better options available to you. And as a matter of fact, there's actually a lot of them out there. There really are. You just have to locate them. So have you experienced anything remotely like this in your career thus far? I mean, probably. As always, I welcome your opinions and comments below, and I look forward to hearing from you. And what I just described is really, unfortunately, a great deal of the associate jobs that are out there. A great deal, but not all. Promise you $80,000 and work you to death. Not your best option unless massive volume is your long-term professional goal. If so, well, that's perfect for you. But if not, there are much better options for you to take a look at and analyze. So let's shift into perhaps what you should consider when making the very important decision of where to hang your license and where to practice, what community to serve, and what doctor to work with. But before we jump into that discussion, I'd be completely remiss if I didn't tell you that in many cases, if you have the financial wherewithal, maybe you have a cosigner, to open your own practice, by all means, select that option as long as you have solid mentorship to assist. This is critical. Mentorship can shave decades off the learning curve. Decades. And it can transform you, it can transform your practice and your life. But that's fodder for a different day. I promise you we'll have a discussion on that. It's just critically important. Most important thing that I've ever done. First, ask yourself what your desired outcome is from an associate position. This is really important. I mean, write this down. What's your desired outcome? And by the way, it's certainly more than okay to expect that you'll be trained and trained well how to deliver state-of-the-art care significantly above what you learned in college. They taught you the basics. They did a great job of doing that, but there's so much more to learn. It's like when I got my first black belt, my instructor said, congratulations, you're probably feeling really good about yourself, but guess what? The learning is just starting. Same thing when you get your license. So we don't want you to relive the same day over and over again in your practice because of a lack of growth. But instead, an associate position should be a cool learning environment with really good energy, good new patient flow, great retention of your patients, of course great patient results, incredible training for you and for every single member of the team. This is also hypercritical. All with you learning how to run the practice so that eventually you can have your own ultra successful practice. Pay attention to what I just said. That's really important. These positions are available, and there's quite a few of them. Now, the trade-off? Because these doctor owners invest so much into you if they're delivering what we just talked about, they usually don't start you off at the high end of the pay scale spectrum, though that certainly happens as you learn more and become more valuable to the practice. It's so much more than just trying to adjust as many spines as possible to below or shoulder labrum. Been there. I mean, probably the most important topic to dive into is the training program the doctor will provide. Write that down. So, who runs the training program? Who designed it? What are the qualifications? How often do you train? How often do you formally train? What do you train on, like a syllabus? These are questions that you should be asking during the interview process. And an interview process goes both ways. They interview you, you're interviewing them. Again, it's not a dress rehearsal, it's your career. The answers of these questions will tell you if this is really a competent training program within that clinic system. So following a training program with clearly defined training objectives that will benefit you and your skill set is monumentally important. This is not too much to ask for. To the contrary, it's the basic. Next up is your list of job responsibilities. Should also be written out. Are you going to be an exam, x-ray, and rehab doc, or are you actually going to be practicing as a doctor of chiropractic? This is massive. You'll learn nothing by doing exams, shooting films, and sprinting into the rehab room all day and in between those three duties. You'll learn nothing. These duties can be a small part of your tasks. Small, especially in the first couple of months. But you should have a written out progression of duties as you learn more from the provided training program. So as you learn more, you become, of course, more skilled and valuable and can therefore contribute more to your community. Now, when this happens, you should have a lot more opportunities for even more growth and, of course, more compensation. And before I cover anything else, here's a fair warning. I would avoid personal injury and work comp mills like the plague unless your career goal is to open up a PI or work comp practice. Nothing more need to be said on that topic. Next up is your pay or compensation and, of course, benefits. Yeah, you should have benefits. So when you consider that the typical associate pay range is just, it's crazy how the huge discrepancy. It goes from anywhere $36,000 on the low end. Believe it or not, we see that, 36 grand with a doctorate, to upwards of 120,000. This is a very confusing topic to a brand new grad. I mean, typically, the mid area of this large range, 36 to 120 or so, is, it's a great place to reside in, the middle area. And that's because as long as the doctor is training you in a formalized training environment, you're going to learn so much more from the position that it far outweighs the higher end of the spectrum where you receive little to no training. Instead being forced to adjust massive, massive volume all day, during evenings, and on weekends. Is that what you want? The mid-range is usually the safer range. That's really important. You should also fully expect some benefits like health insurance, yeah, paid time off, yes, paid malpractice insurance, of course, and paid CEUs. That's how it's done today. So really settle for nothing less than those. Those are minimums, and also accelerators in pay as you progress / bonuses. Really important, guys. Write that stuff down. And don't forget to demand a formalized training program that will groom you, if you will, for lifetime success, with success being described according to your definition, not theirs. This is your career, not theirs. This is about you. Okay, now a word of warning. If you are promised the potential of ownership in the practice at some unknown date, or perhaps maybe owning the clinic entirely in the future, please get the details in writing inside your contract. If it's not in the contract, I'm telling you it will not materialize. Ever. We see this a lot. That's called what we call eating our young, and it needs to stop. We see it all the time. So have you ever had this happen to you? If so, please tell me about it in the comments section below. We need to continue to move this thing forward. Does that make sense to you? So now, moving forward, break, because it ain't moving anymore. So have you ever had this happen to you? Please, 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 please. If so, I've got to know about it. Tell me about it in the comments section below. We need to work together as chiropractors to root this type of hollow and shallow promises out of our I love our profession. We have a fantastic profession. Let's just continue to improve it. We truly have a phenomenal profession with an extremely valuable license. You hold a very valuable license, and there are positions available that will help you boost your career path instead of wasting 7% of your career. In fact, any suggestions or promises about future potential opportunities for you and your career should be carefully spelled out in the contract that you sign. The last thing I'd like to mention today is this whole topic about a non-compete clause in your employment contract. Non-compete, which means you can't open up within a certain range of where you practice. Okay, this is okay to have, and actually you should have one for your protection and for the doctors, because you hold a valuable professional license and an advanced degree. One cannot reasonably prevent you from earning a living. So what I found across the country, we've got clinics in 31 states, is that in most states, a large non-compete will not hold up in a court of law. As a matter of fact, about a 5-mile non-compete clause is fair to expect when the doctor owner is investing so much into your professional development. It's defendable, it's fair to them, and it's fair to you. But remember, if you can afford to get into your own practice instead of taking an associate position, maybe through a cosigner, etc., sprint towards that option. But get a top shelf team of mentors to help you navigate these waters. You'll be extraordinarily glad you did. So let me ask you, how do you approach finding a great mentor to help your career trajectory? I'd love to hear from you on this one. Just leave your comments below this video. And also remember, there truly are a lot of fantastic associate positions available if you're unable to open your own practice due to finances that will help you and your career while you help the communities. Take your time when selecting one. Don't be forced into making a decision in a week. So if you found this video interesting and helpful, and I hope you did, grab our free report for chiropractors at hsfranchising.com. It'll show you how to recover from the pandemic, if you haven't yet, and you should have actually had a banner year, and build even more right now, in an even stronger practice and a more successful career. The time is now. Again, head over to hsfranchising.com, and as always, I welcome your feedback, I truly do, and I welcome your opinions on this topic in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a fantastic day.